The survey ship, Luminous Dawn, hung in the black void of space, its sensors scanning the blue and green planet below. Ambassador Zekthar stood in the observation room, his crystalline body reflecting the soft light from the control panels. His team had been searching for intelligent life for 3 cycles, and finally, they had found something promising. "Ambassador, the preliminary scan is complete," said one of his scientists. "A thin creature with 4 arms and large eyes. But there is a problem." Zekthar turned from the window. "What kind of problem?" The scientist's hands shook as he pulled up the data. "This planet. It should not have life. The gravity is twice our standard. The atmospheric pressure would crush most of our people. The temperature swings are extreme. There are thousands of predator species. The whole planet is a death trap." Zekthar moved closer to read the data himself. His people, the Velkari, had explored the galaxy for centuries. They had seen many worlds, but this one was different. The readings showed a Class 12 death world, a rating so dangerous that only 3 other planets in known space had it. None of those planets had intelligent life. "Are you certain about these readings?" Zekthar asked. "Completely certain, Ambassador. This world should be impossible to live on. Yet our scans show cities, technology, and billions of intelligent beings." Zekthar felt a chill run through his crystal form. "Show me these beings." The screen changed to show a military base on the planet's surface. Hundreds of creatures moved around the base, going about their daily tasks. They walked on 2 legs, had 2 arms, and seemed remarkably similar to many species in the galaxy. But there was something different about them. They moved with purpose and strength. The camera focused on one individual. A young male in green clothing ran across an open field with a heavy pack on his back. Behind him, others followed, all carrying similar loads. They ran for kilometers without stopping, their breathing steady and controlled. "That pack weighs over 40 kilograms, the scientist said quietly. "Any one of our people would collapse under that weight, even on a normal world." Zekthar watched in silence. The creatures finished their run and immediately began other exercises. They lifted heavy objects, climbed walls, and fought in hand-to-hand combat. All of this was done casually, as if it were the most normal thing in the universe. "They call themselves humans," another scientist reported. "Their planet is called Earth. They have only one unified government for space matters. But many nations on the surface, they have basic space travel but have not left their star system." "Have they detected us?" Zekthar asked. "Not yet. Our stealth systems are working perfectly." Zekthar continued watching the humans. One of them, the young male they had focused on earlier, sat down with others to eat. They laughed and talked, showing emotions that seemed familiar. They were not just strong, they were intelligent and social. They had culture and community. "What do we do, Ambassador?" the scientist asked. "Protocol says we should avoid Deathworld species. They are too dangerous." 1. Before Zekthar could answer, alarms blared throughout the ship. The lights turned red, and everyone rushed to their stations. "What is happening?" Zekthar demanded. "Long-range sensors have detected something," the communications officer said, his voice tight with fear. "It is the Krindax swarm." The name sent terror through every being on the ship. The Krindax were a nightmare made real, a hive mind species that consumed everything in their path. They had destroyed 17 civilizations in the past 10 years. Their swarm fleets numbered in the millions, and they showed no mercy. "How far away are they?" Zekthar asked. "They are 3 sectors away and moving in our direction. At their current speed, they will reach Council space in less than 6 months." Zekthar felt his hope crumble. The Galactic Council had no real military. They had peacekeeping ships and exploration vessels, but nothing designed for war. Most species in the Council had evolved on peaceful worlds. They had never needed to learn how to fight. The Krindax would sweep through Council space like a storm. Trillions would die. "Send a message to the Council immediately," Zekthar ordered. "Tell them what we have found. Tell them the swarm is coming." "Ambassador, what about the humans?" the scientist asked. "Should we warn them too?" Zekthar looked back at the screen, showing Earth. The young human male was now training again, practicing combat moves with another soldier. They moved with speed and precision, their bodies weapons in themselves. An idea began to form in Zekthar's mind. It was dangerous, and went against every protocol they had. But desperate times required desperate measures. We need to contact them, Zekthar said. What? Ambassador, we cannot. They are a Deathworld species. They could be violent, aggressive, dangerous. Look at them, Zekthar said, pointing at the screen. They train for combat every day. They have entire organizations dedicated to fighting. They live on a planet that would kill most of us in hours. They are exactly what we need. Need for what? To survive. The Krindaks are coming, and we have no way to stop them. But these humans, these Deathworlders, they know how to fight. It is in their nature, bred into them by their terrible planet. We need warriors, and they are warriors. The scientist looked horrified. You want to bring them into the galaxy? To give Deathworlders access to our space? I want to give the galaxy a chance to survive, Zekthar said firmly. Prepare a first contact message. Address it to their unified space agency. Tell them we need their help. What if they refuse? What if they attack us? Then we die when the Krindaks arrive instead of dying now. Either way, we are doomed without help. But I have studied hundreds of species, and I see something in these humans. Yes, they are strong and dangerous, but they also laugh together, help each other, and care for their weak. They have compassion alongside their strength. That gives me hope. Over the next several hours, Zekthar and his team prepared the message. They explained who they were, where they came from, and what was coming. They did not hide the danger. They were honest about the Krindaks and the Council's weakness. They asked for one thing: help. The message was sent directly to Earth's Space Coordination Agency. Then, they waited. On Earth, Director Connor Blake sat in his office when the alert came through. He was a former Air Force colonel who had seen action in 3 different conflicts. He knew danger when he saw it, and the message on his screen was the biggest danger humanity had ever faced. Get me the president, he said to his assistant. And wake up every military commander we have. We just made first contact. And it is not what anyone expected. Within hours, world leaders gathered in emergency sessions. The message from space was analyzed, verified, and confirmed as real. Aliens existed, and they needed help. They needed soldiers. President Greg Matthews stood before the United Nations Assembly. We have always wondered if we were alone in the universe. Now, we know we are not. We also know that there is a threat out there, something that has destroyed civilizations. These aliens are asking for our help. They are asking us to fight. The room erupted in arguments. Some wanted to ignore the message, others wanted to help, some feared it was a trick. But in the end, the decision was made. Humanity would answer the call. Commander Lisa Chen received her orders the next day. She was to lead a team to the human transport ship, docked at Sanctuary Station, 3 weeks after leaving Earth. Commander Lisa Chen stood at the airlock with her team, waiting for the doors to open. Behind her, 50 humans prepared to meet alien life for the first time. Remember your training, Lisa said calmly. We represent all of humanity now. Stay alert, stay respectful, and stay ready for anything. The airlock opened with a hiss. On the other side stood Ambassador Zekthar and a group of Velkari officials. They were tall and thin, their bodies made of what looked like living crystal. Light passed through them in strange ways, creating rainbow patterns on the walls. Zekthar stepped forward, his movements slow and careful. He stopped several meters away from Lisa. Welcome to Sanctuary Station, Commander Chen. We are grateful you came. Lisa noticed how he kept his distance. She also noticed the way his voice trembled slightly. He was afraid. They were all afraid. Thank you for the invitation, Ambassador, Lisa said. We are here to help. The humans moved into the station. And immediately, problems became clear. The corridors were too narrow. The gravity was too light. Everything was built for beings much smaller and weaker than humans. When Sergeant Kevin Torres picked up his gear bag, 3 Velkari jumped back in alarm. The bag weighed 60 kilograms, but Kevin carried it with one hand. "Sorry," Kevin said, freezing in place. "Did I do something wrong?" A Velkari scientist approached carefully, keeping several meters between them. "That container you carry. How heavy is it?" "About 60 kilos, Kevin answered. "Maybe a bit more, with all the equipment inside." The scientist's crystal body seemed to dim. "That is more than my body weight. You carry it as if it weighs nothing." Kevin looked confused. "It is not that heavy. Standard load for a mission. For you, perhaps. For us, it would be impossible to lift." Over the next few days, the differences became more obvious. Dr. Eric Palmer, a xenobiologist, worked with alien medical staff to compare human and Velkari biology. The results shocked everyone. "Your bones are 5 times denser than ours," a Velkari doctor explained to Eric. "Your muscle fibers are thicker and stronger. Your heart is a pump that would be considered industrial equipment on our worlds. You are built to survive on a planet that would kill us." Eric nodded slowly. "Your world must be very different from Earth. Our home world has half the gravity of your planet. The temperature never changes more than a few degrees. There are no large predators. No deadly storms. It is peaceful and safe." "That sounds nice," Eric said honestly. "It is, but it made us weak. We never had to fight to survive. We never had to adapt to danger. When the Krindaks came, we had no defense. We did not even understand the concept of total war until they destroyed our colonies." The reality of the situation became clear to all the humans. The aliens were not just asking for help. They were desperate. They had no warriors, no soldiers, no concept of military strategy. They were scholars and explorers, facing an enemy that only knew how to kill. Commander Chen met with the Galactic Council the next week. She stood before representatives of a dozen species, all of them watching her with a mixture of hope and fear. "We have analyzed your defense capabilities," Lisa began. "With respect, you have almost nothing. Your ships have no armor, no weapons beyond mining lasers, and no tactical systems. Your personnel have no combat training. If the Krindaks attack in force, you will be destroyed in days." The council members whispered among themselves. Finally, Zekthar spoke. "We know this, Commander. That is why we called for you. Can you help us?" Lisa thought carefully before answering. "We can try. But you need to understand what that means. We will need to militarize your entire civilization, build weapons, train soldiers, create a command structure. It will change everything about your society." "We accept," Zekthar said immediately. "Show us how to fight." The training began the next day. Sergeant Kevin Torres took charge of the first volunteer unit. 20 aliens from different species signed up. All of them, knowing they might die. Among them was a young thresh warrior named Kliktor, an insect-like being with 4 arms and natural agility. There was also Saren, a Velkari linguist who wanted to protect her people. The first day was a disaster. Kevin started with basic exercises, the kind human recruits did every morning. Simple push-ups, running, and stretching. Within 10 minutes, half the aliens collapsed from exhaustion. "We need to rest," Saren gasped, her crystal body flickering weakly. Kevin looked at his watch. "We have only been going for 10 minutes. That is too long. Our bodies cannot handle this level of stress." Kevin realized his mistake. He had been treating aliens like humans. He needed to completely change his approach. Over the next week, he modified everything. He reduced the intensity, shortened the sessions, and focused on what each species could actually do. Kliktor could not lift heavy weights, but he could climb walls and move through tight spaces with incredible speed. Saren could not run far, but she could coordinate team movements and communicate across multiple channels simultaneously. Each alien had strengths that humans did not have. "We are not trying to make you into humans," Kevin told his unit. "We are trying to make you into soldiers. Your soldiers, using your strengths." Meanwhile, engineer Brandon Cole worked with alien technicians to upgrade their ships. The aliens watched in confusion as humans installed armor plating, missile tubes, and point defense systems. "Why do we need all this metal?" one engineer asked. "It will slow the ship down. Because when someone shoots at you, you want something between you and the bullet," Brandon explained. "Speed does not matter if you are dead." The concept of deliberate ship-to-ship combat was foreign to most aliens. Their disputes were settled through negotiation and economic pressure. The idea of actually destroying another ship was considered barbaric. "It is barbaric," Brandon agreed. "But the Krindaks do not care about being civilized. They will kill you whether you want to fight or not. Better to have weapons and not need them than to need them and not have them." Corporal Megan Foster worked in the communications center, helping coordinate between dozens of species who all spoke different languages. She became friends with a Corval officer named Velnice, an amphibious being whose homeworld was already under Krindak's occupation. "My family is still down there," Velnice told Megan one night. "I do not know if they are alive or dead. The swarm descended 3 months ago and cut off all communication." Megan put a hand on Velnice's shoulder, being careful not to squeeze too hard. "We will get them back, I promise you." "How can you be so certain?" "Because that is what we do. Humans do not leave people behind. When one of us is in trouble, the rest come running. You are one of us now. Your family is our family." Velnice looked at Megan with large, wet eyes. "You really mean that, do not you?" "Every word." 6 weeks after the humans arrived, the first test came. Krindak scouts attacked a mining colony on the edge of Council space. Commander Chen deployed the newly trained alien unit alongside a human strike team. The battle was brief but intense. The Krindaks came in expecting easy prey, but instead, they found coordinated resistance. Kevin and his alien unit worked together perfectly. Kliktor scouted enemy positions while Saren coordinated the defense. Human soldiers provided heavy firepower, while aliens used their unique abilities to outmaneuver the enemy. The mining colony was evacuated with 0 civilian casualties. 3 Krindak scout ships were destroyed. The victory was small in the grand scale of the war, but it proved something important. They could win. News of the battle spread through Council space within hours. The impossible had happened. Someone had fought the Krindaks and survived. More than survived, they had won. Volunteers flooded recruitment centers. Aliens who had never considered violence in their lives suddenly wanted to learn how to defend their homes. The humans worked around the clock to train them all. Ambassador Zekthar met with Commander Chen after the battle. "You have given us something we lost when the Krindaks first appeared," he said. "Hope." Lisa shook her head. "We did not give you hope. You already had it. You just needed someone to show you how to use it. Your people are braver than you think. They just needed training and equipment. Perhaps. But without you, we would have died hoping. Now we can hope and fight." The alliance between humans and the Council grew stronger every day. Friendships formed across species. Humans learned about alien culture, art, and philosophy. Aliens learned about human history, music, and humor. They were different in many ways, but they shared the same desire to survive and protect their loved ones. In the training halls, Kevin and Kliktor practiced combat drills together. The Thresh warrior had become skilled at close quarters fighting, using his forearms and agility to compensate for his lack of strength. The warning came at 3 in the morning, station time. Alarms screamed through Sanctuary Station as sensors detected multiple Krindaks fleets entering Council space. Commander Lisa Chen ran to the command center, still pulling on her uniform. What she saw on the screens made her blood run cold. Dozens of red dots moved across the tactical display. Each dot represented a Krindak swarm fleet containing thousands of ships. They were not probing anymore. This was a full invasion. "How many?" Lisa demanded. "Initial count shows 47 fleets," the tactical officer reported. "Estimated total ships in the millions. They are spreading out to hit multiple targets simultaneously." Ambassador Zekthar arrived moments later, his crystal body flickering with stress. This is worse than we feared. They are committing everything to this attack. Lisa studied the patterns. The Krindaks were not just attacking randomly. They had a strategy. They were hitting agricultural worlds, manufacturing centers, and population hubs. They wanted to destroy the Council's ability to resist and feed itself. "Get me General Henderson on Earth," Lisa ordered. "We need reinforcements now." Within hours, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. Representatives from every member species filled the chamber. All of them, frightened and demanding answers. The usual calm deliberations turned into panic. "We should evacuate," one representative shouted. "Abandon the outer colonies and retreat to the core worlds." "And let billions die?" another argued. "We cannot just abandon our people. What choice do we have? We cannot fight them all." Zekthar stood, and the room quieted. "We have a choice. We can run and die slowly, or we can stand and fight. The humans have shown us it is possible to win. One small battle against scouts," a skeptical voice called out. "This is different. This is the full swarm." Before Zekthar could respond, the chamber doors opened. Lisa Chen walked in, followed by a tall, gray-haired human in a military uniform. The new arrival moved with the confidence of someone who had seen real war. "Members of the Council," Zekthar said, "this is General Paul Henderson, commander of Earth's military forces. He has come to help coordinate our defense." General Henderson looked around the room, his expression hard. "I have reviewed your situation. I will be direct with you. Right now, you are losing this war because you fight like prey animals. You scatter when threatened. You abandon the weak to save the strong. That is exactly what the Krindaks expect." The room erupted in angry protests. But Henderson's voice cut through the noise. "I am not insulting you. I am stating a fact. Your species evolved on peaceful worlds, where running away was the smart choice. But the Krindaks evolved to hunt prey that runs. Every time you retreat, you make them stronger." "What do you suggest?" Zekthar asked. "We stop running. We establish defensive lines, and make them bleed for every meter they take. We hit their supply ships and communication nodes. We make this invasion so costly that even the hive mind thinks twice." "You want us to fight a defensive war?" one representative asked. "We do not have the ships or the soldiers. You will soon. Earth is sending 5,000 military personnel and 20 warships. More will follow. But we need time to build proper defenses and train your people. That means holding the line long enough to prepare." The vote was close, but it passed. The Council granted full military authority to the human command. Lisa was promoted to Admiral and given control of the First Joint Fleet, a mix of retrofitted Council ships and newly arrived Earth vessels. Her captains included Lieutenant Commander Tyler Brooks, a young but brilliant tactician who commanded the destroyer Defiant. The Defiant was Earth's most advanced warship, armed with railguns, missiles, and the new electromagnetic frequency weapons that Dr. Palmer had developed. "We are putting a lot of faith in you humans," Zekthar told Lisa after the council session ended. "I know," Lisa said. "We will do everything we can. But you need to understand something. War is not clean or easy. People will die. Good people, innocent people. Even if we win, the cost will be terrible. I understand, but at least we have a chance now. Before you came, we had none." Lisa began implementing human military doctrine across council space. She established supply lines, fallback positions, and communication networks. Major Greg Sullivan, a tactical specialist, worked with alien officers to teach them reconnaissance, ambush tactics, and psychological warfare. The Krindaks, operating on instinct and hive logic, struggled to adapt. They were used to enemies that either fled or died. They did not know how to handle an enemy that fought smart. The first major engagement came at a refueling station called Outpost 7. A Krindak's fleet of 300 ships approached, expecting to find a defenseless target. Instead, they found Admiral Chen's First Joint Fleet waiting for them. The battle began badly for the Council forces. The Krindaks had numbers and power. Their bioships were fast and deadly, swarming around the defenders like angry insects. But Lisa had prepared for this. "All ships, execute pattern Delta," she ordered calmly. The human and alien ships scattered into a wide formation, drawing the Krindaks into a kill zone. When the enemy was fully committed, Lisa gave the next order: activate the frequency emitters. The electromagnetic weapons came online, flooding space with the specific frequency that disrupted Krindak's coordination. The hive mind connection faltered. Individual drones began making mistakes, crashing into each other, or firing at empty space. "All ships, concentrated fire on the command carrier," Lisa ordered. The combined fleet focused their weapons on the largest Krindak's ship. Railgun rounds punched through its bioarmor while missiles tore into its vital systems. The carrier exploded in a flash of light, and the rest of the Krindak's fleet fell into complete chaos. "Press the attack," Lisa said. "Do not give them time to recover." The battle lasted 4 hours. When it ended, 200 Krindak's ships were destroyed. The Council lost 30 vessels, a painful toll, but far better than the total destruction the enemy had expected to inflict. While the fleet fought, Sergeant Kevin Torres led a dangerous mission behind enemy lines. He and his mixed-species team infiltrated a Krindak staging area to gather intelligence. Kliktor moved through the shadows with Kevin, the Thresh warrior's natural stealth skills proving invaluable. What they found was worse than anyone imagined. "Look at the size of this force," Kliktor whispered, pointing at the massive gathering of Krindak ships. "There must be hundreds of thousands here." Kevin recorded everything with his helmet camera. "This is just one staging area. How many more do they have?" Remember, on Rizondov. Let's Promet. On Rizondova. Too many," Kliktor said quietly. They planted surveillance devices and retreated carefully. The mission took 3 days, moving through hostile territory while avoiding Krindak's patrols. When they finally made it back to friendly space, Kevin delivered the intelligence to Admiral Chen personally. "It is worse than we thought," Kevin told her. "The swarm is massive. What we have seen so far is just the advance force. The main body is still coming." Lisa looked at the data, her face grim. "How long do we have?" "Maybe 2 months before they arrive in full force. Then we use those 2 months to prepare." "Good work, Sergeant." Back on Sanctuary Station, Corporal Megan Foster worked around the clock, coordinating communications between the scattered defense forces. Her friendship with Velenis had deepened, and they worked together to keep morale high among the alien troops. One night, Velenis broke down crying. "I heard from my homeworld. My family is gone. The Krindaks killed everyone in my city." Megan held her friend close, letting the Corval officer grieve. "I am so sorry. I promised we would save them." "You could not have known. The swarm moves too fast. That does not make it hurt less. Your family deserved better. This whole galaxy deserves better." Velenis pulled away and wiped her eyes. "Then, we make sure no one else loses their family. We stop the Krindaks here. Together," Megan agreed. The war spread across multiple sectors. Small battles and skirmishes happened daily. Human advisors taught alien crews how to fight. And slowly, the Council forces began to improve. They learned to set traps, to strike and fade, to make the enemy pay for every advance. But the Krindaks kept coming. For every ship destroyed, 2 more appeared. The hive mind felt no fear, no doubt, no mercy. It only knew how to consume. 3 weeks after the battle at Outpost 7, a major Krindaks force attacked the Nexus station, a critical trade hub that connected a dozen systems. Admiral Chen knew this battle could not be lost. If Nexus fell, the Council's defensive network would collapse. She gathered every available ship and prepared for the biggest fight yet. The first joint fleet numbered 200 vessels, a mix of human warships and retrofitted Council ships. Facing them was a Krindak's armada of over 1,000 ships. "All crews. This is Admiral Chen," Lisa said over the fleet-wide channel. "Today we defend Nexus Station and everyone sheltering there. The enemy thinks they can overwhelm us with numbers. They think we will break and run. They are wrong. We hold this line. Not one Kryndax ship gets past us. Do you understand? A chorus of responses came back from dozens of species. Yes, Admiral. Good. All ships to battle stations. Here they come. The Kryndax fleet emerged from hyperspace like a plague of locusts. They formed a wall of bioships, all of them pushing forward with terrifying speed. The distance closed rapidly. Hold fire, Lisa ordered, watching the range indicators. Wait for it. The tension on every bridge was unbearable. Alien crews gripped their stations with trembling hands. Human captains stayed calm, trusting their admiral. Fire, Lisa said quietly. Space erupted with light. Railguns fired at maximum speed, sending tungsten rounds through Kryndax hulls. Missiles streaked across the void, exploding in clusters. Lasers carved through bioarmor. The electromagnetic frequency weapons created zones of disruption where Kryndax coordination broke down. The enemy kept coming, taking terrible losses but never slowing. This was the hive mind at its worst. Individual ships meant nothing, only the objective mattered. Lieutenant Commander Brooks commanded the Defiant in the thick of the fighting. His ship danced through the chaos, firing precisely and moving constantly. When he saw a Kryndax carrier breaking through the line toward a civilian evacuation convoy, he made a decision. All power to forward shields, Tyler ordered. Ram that carrier. His crew looked at him in shock. Sir, we will not survive that. The civilians will not survive if we do not. Do it. The Defiant accelerated to full speed and crashed into the Kryndax carrier. The impact was devastating. Both ships tumbled through space, locked together. Tyler activated the self-destruct sequence. All hands, abandon ship. Get to the escape pods now. The crew evacuated as fast as they could. Tyler waited until the last person was clear, then ejected himself. Seconds later, the Defiant exploded, taking the carrier with it. The blast disrupted the Kryndax attack formation, buying precious time for the civilian ships to escape. The battle raged for 8 hours. When it finally ended, Nexus Station still stood. The Kryndax had been driven back, but the cost was severe. The Council lost 70 ships and thousands of crew members. Human casualties were high too. General Henderson stood in the war room on Sanctuary Station, studying the three-dimensional map of Council space. Red markers showed Kryndax-occupied worlds. Blue markers showed Council territory. The red was spreading like a disease. We cannot keep playing defense, he said to the gathered commanders. Every day we wait, the Kryndax get stronger. We need to hit them hard. Admiral Lisa Chen nodded in agreement. What do you have in mind? A counteroffensive. We take back one of the occupied worlds. Show everyone that the Kryndax can be beaten on the ground. Not just in space. The room fell silent. No one had successfully liberated a Kryndax-occupied planet before. Once the swarm landed, they were nearly impossible to remove. They dug in, bred more warriors, and turned entire worlds into hive fortresses. Which world? Lisa asked. Henderson pointed to a blue-green planet on the map. Corval Prime. The Corval homeworld. It fell 3 months ago. But intelligence suggests there are still millions of survivors hiding in the wilderness. If we can liberate them, it will prove that no world is beyond saving. Velnice, who was attending the meeting as a junior officer, stepped forward. Her voice shook with emotion. My people are down there, trapped and dying. If you can save them, I will do anything to help. We will need all the help we can get, Henderson said. This operation will be the biggest thing humanity has ever attempted in space. We are talking about a full planetary assault against an entrenched enemy. Major Greg Sullivan pulled up tactical data. We estimate there are at least 500,000 Kryndax warriors on the surface, along with breeding facilities and command structures. They have turned the capital city into a hive fortress. How do we fight that? Asked a Velkari officer. With overwhelming force and perfect coordination, Henderson replied. We hit them from orbit, from the air, and on the ground simultaneously. We use the frequency weapons to disrupt their hive coordination, Then we cut them apart before they can recover. When do we go? Lisa asked. 2 weeks. That gives us time to gather forces and prepare. Every available ship, every trained soldier, everything we have, goes into this operation. The next 2 weeks were a blur of activity. Fresh troops arrived from Earth daily, along with new weapons and equipment. Captain Nicole Harper led a squadron of experimental fighters designed to use the frequency weapons in atmospheric combat. Sergeant Kevin Torres trained a special assault unit combining human marines and alien specialists. Lieutenant Jake Harrison, who had been promoted after his actions at earlier battles, would lead one of the first wave landing forces. He spent his time studying the Corval capital's layout and planning entry routes with his team. This is going to be rough, Jake told his squad. Urban combat is always the worst. Lots of places for enemies to hide. Lots of civilians to protect. Lots of things that can go wrong. We can handle it, said one of his Marines, a tough woman named Carla Hughes. We have trained for this. Training is one thing. The real deal is different. Just remember your training and watch each other's backs. On the day of the assault, the largest fleet ever assembled in Council history gathered in orbit around Corval Prime. Over 300 ships, including 50 human warships, and the rest retrofitted Council vessels. Thousands of soldiers prepared in the dropships, checking weapons and armor. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching the countdown. All ships, this is Chen. Today we show the galaxy that the Krindaks are not unstoppable. Today we bring our people home. All units, commence operation. The fleet moved into position. Orbital bombardment began first, targeting Krindak's military installations and hive structures. The frequency weapons created zones of disruption across the planet. Without hive coordination, individual Krindak's warriors became confused and disorganized. Launch the dropships, Lisa ordered. Hundreds of vessels detached from the fleet and plunged into the atmosphere. Inside, soldiers gripped their harnesses as the ships shook violently during entry. Jake felt his stomach lurch as the dropship fell like a meteor toward the surface. 30 seconds to landing, the pilot called out. Lock and load, Jake ordered his squad. Remember, civilians first. We are here to save people, not just kill bugs. The dropships hit the ground hard. Ramps dropped open and soldiers poured out into the ruined capital city. The Krindaks were waiting. Alien warriors, each the size of a small car, charged toward the human positions with terrifying speed. Open fire, Jake shouted. The battle erupted instantly. Rifles cracked, grenades exploded, and humans pushed forward into the city. The Krindaks fought with savage intensity, but without hive coordination, they made mistakes. They attacked individually instead of in coordinated waves. They exposed weak points. They died. Kevin Torres led his special unit toward a key hive structure on the eastern side of the city. With him was Click-Tor and a mixed group of human and alien soldiers. They moved through the ruins using cover and speed. Contact front, someone called out. A group of Krindak's warriors emerged from a collapsed building. Click-Tor moved first, his forearms wielding weapons with practiced skill. He was fast, faster than the Krindaks expected. He struck from above, dropping from a wall to land on top of an enemy warrior. Kevin and his team provided covering fire. Keep moving, do not let them surround us. They fought their way through 3 blocks of intense resistance. Every building could hide enemies, every corner could be a trap, but they pushed forward, driven by the knowledge that Corval civilians were counting on them. In orbit, Captain Nicole Harper led her fighter squadron in atmospheric combat. Her experimental fighters danced through the sky, dogfighting with Krindak's flyers. The frequency weapons on her fighters disrupted enemy coordination, making them easier targets. Fox 2, missile away, Nicole called out, launching at a Krindak's interceptor. The missile struck true, and the enemy craft exploded. Good kill, Harper, her wingman radioed. We have more contacts incoming from the north. I see them. Squadron, form up on me. Let's clear the sky. On the ground, Corporal Megan Foster worked with Velnice to coordinate between different units. They had set up a mobile command post in a secured building, managing communications for dozens of teams simultaneously. We have civilians located in the underground tunnels, Velnis reported. They are trapped by Krindak's forces. Who is closest to that position? Megan asked, checking her tactical display. Harrison's unit is 2 blocks away. Megan opened a channel to Jake. Lieutenant Harrison, we have civilians trapped in the tunnels at your 10 o'clock. Can you assist? Can you assist? Roger that. Jake replied. We are moving now. 1. We are moving now. Jake and his squad fought their way to the tunnel entrance. They found Korval civilians, hundreds of them, hiding in the darkness. They were terrified, starving, and exhausted. When they saw the human soldiers, many broke down crying in relief. You are safe now, Jake told them through a translator. We are getting you out of here. Setting up a defensive perimeter, Jake's squad protected the civilians as they evacuated to waiting transport ships. Krindak's warriors attacked repeatedly, trying to reclaim their prey. Each attack was beaten back. Last civilian is loaded, Carla reported. Good. Fall back to the transport. We are done here. Across the city, similar scenes played out. Human and alien soldiers working together to save lives and push back the Krindaks. The battle was brutal and costly. But slowly, the tide turned. Engineer Brandon Cole led a team on a critical mission deep into Krindak's territory. Their target was a communication node that coordinated swarm forces across 3 neighboring systems. Destroying it would cripple Krindak's operations throughout the sector. With him was Dr. Amy Richardson, who kept the team alive with her quick medical skills, and Engineer Danny Park, a young tech specialist who could crack any security system. They infiltrated the facility using stealth and careful planning. Danny worked on the node's security, while Brandon and Amy kept watch. How much longer? Brandon whispered. Almost there, Danny replied, his fingers flying across a portable computer. Just need to bypass the final layer. Clam. Alarms suddenly blared. We have been detected, Amy said urgently. Krindak's warriors poured into the chamber. The team fought desperately, but they were outnumbered. Brandon took a hit to his side and went down. Amy dragged him to cover while Danny continued working. I got it, Danny shouted. The charges are armed. We need to evacuate now. There is no time, Brandon said, looking at the approaching Krindaks. Someone needs to stay and make sure they detonate. I will do it, Danny said immediately. No, you are too valuable, Brandon argued. We are all valuable, Danny said with a sad smile. But I am the only one who can guarantee this works. Get Amy out of here. Tell my family I love them. Before anyone could stop him, Danny shoved them toward the exit and sealed the door. Brandon and Amy ran as fast as they could. Behind them, they heard Danny fighting alone, buying them precious seconds. The explosion shook the entire facility. The node was destroyed completely, along with Danny and dozens of Krindak's warriors. His sacrifice allowed the mission to succeed. Back in the capital, the final push began. Admiral Chen coordinated a massive combined assault on the central hive structure. Ships provided orbital fire support, while ground forces attacked from multiple directions. Jake and his squad were part of the assault team. They fought their way up through the hive structure, floor by floor, room by room. The fighting was close and desperate. Several times they nearly got overrun, but each time they rallied and pushed forward. Kevin's team reached the hive nexus, a pulsing organic structure that coordinated all local Krindak's forces. Plant the charges, Kevin ordered. Clicktor moved with speed, attaching explosives to critical points. Charges set. We have 2 minutes. Everyone out now, Kevin commanded. They ran through the collapsing structure as the timer counted down. The explosion was massive, destroying the nexus and killing thousands of Krindak's drones. Without local coordination, the remaining swarm forces fell into complete disarray. The battle for Korval Prime lasted 18 hours. When it finally ended, the planet was free. Millions of Korval civilians were saved. The Krindaks had been driven off completely, but the cost was terrible. Thousands of human soldiers died, Countless alien warriors fell beside them. Danny Park was gone, along with hundreds of others who made the ultimate sacrifice. Admiral Chen stood in the ruins of the Corval capital, looking at the devastation. General Henderson joined her. "We won," Henderson said quietly. "At what cost?" Lisa asked, her voice heavy. "A cost worth paying. Look around. Those people are alive because we fought. Their children will grow up free because we stopped the Krindaks here." 3 months after the liberation of Corval Prime, the war had changed completely. The Krindak swarm, which had seemed unstoppable just half a year ago, was now in retreat. Across Council space, joint human-alien forces pushed the enemy back system by system. Admiral Lisa Chen stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching another Krindak's fleet withdraw from contested space. Her joint defense fleet had grown to over 500 ships, all of them trained in human tactics and equipped with advanced weapons. "They are running," her tactical officer reported. "7th time this month. Let them go," Lisa ordered. "We have achieved our objective here. No need to chase them into deep space." The Krindaks were learning that fighting the Council was no longer easy. Every battle cost them dearly. Every advance met organized resistance. The hive mind, for all its power, could not adapt fast enough to human unpredictability. General Paul Henderson had established the Joint Defense Academy on Sanctuary Station. The academy trained soldiers from dozens of species in military tactics, weapons handling, and combined arms warfare. What had started as a desperate experiment was now a permanent institution. "We are building something lasting here," Henderson told Lisa during one of their regular meetings. "Even after the Krindaks are defeated, the galaxy will need defenders. The Academy ensures that knowledge survives." "Do you think we can actually win this war?" Lisa asked. "Yes. The swarm is retreating to their home territories. Our intelligence suggests they are consolidating for a last stand. If we can break them there, the war ends. And if we cannot, then we contain them, make their space a prison they cannot escape. Either way, the Council survives." On Earth, the war effort had transformed human society. Factories worked around the clock, producing ships and weapons. Scientists collaborated with alien researchers on new technologies. The entire planet was united in a way it had never been before. President Greg Matthews addressed the United Nations. His speech broadcast to billions across Earth and throughout Council space. "We were asked to be heroes, and we answered that call. But we learned something important in the process. We are not alone anymore. The galaxy is our home now. And every species in it is our family. We fight not just for Earth, but for all of us." The speech was translated into dozens of alien languages and played across the Council. For many aliens, it was the first time they truly understood humanity. Yes, humans were strong and dangerous, but they were also protective, loyal, and willing to sacrifice for others. Lieutenant Jake Harrison had been promoted to captain and now commanded his own company. He spent his time training new recruits and occasionally visiting liberated worlds to help with reconstruction. The young Marine who had been studied by aliens from orbit was now a hero known throughout the galaxy. On one visit to Corval Prime, Jake met with Velnus, who had returned to help rebuild her homeworld. They stood in a park that was slowly being restored, watching Corval children play under the protection of human and alien peacekeepers. "Thank you," Velnus said simply. "Without you, none of this would exist. My people would be gone." "We just did what was right," Jake replied. "Anyone would have done the same." "No. Not anyone. Most species in the galaxy would have run or hidden. Humans ran toward the danger to help strangers. That is special." Jake watched the children playing and smiled. "I guess we are good at that. Probably comes from living on a death world. When everything is trying to kill you, you learn to protect each other." Sergeant Kevin Torres and Clicktor continued serving together, their partnership now legendary in military circles. They had fought in every major battle of the war and survived them all. They co-authored a tactical manual called Combined Species Warfare that became required reading at the Academy. "We make a good team," Clicktor said during one training session with new recruits. "The best," Kevin agreed. You know, when I first met you, I did not think we could work together. You are so different from humans. And now? Now I cannot imagine fighting without you. You watch my back, I watch yours. That is what matters. Clicktor's mandibles clicked in. What Kevin had learned was a thresh smile. My people have a saying, strength alone is not enough. You need someone to share the burden. I am glad you are my someone. Corporal Megan Foster and Velinus had established the Interspecies Communications Bureau, an organization dedicated to helping different species understand each other. They work to prevent future conflicts through better translation, cultural education, and diplomatic training. Language is just the beginning, Megan explained to a class of students. Real communication is about understanding why someone thinks differently, not just what they are saying. Every species has unique perspectives shaped by their worlds and history. Learning to appreciate those differences makes us stronger together. The Bureau became essential to Council operations. Misunderstandings that might have caused conflicts were resolved peacefully. Species that had barely interacted before formed friendships and alliances. Dr. Eric Palmer continued his xenobiology research, now focused on medical applications. Working with Dr. Amy Richardson, he established the first joint medical research facility where human and alien doctors studied together. We have made incredible progress, Eric told Amy during one lab session. The Velkari have regenerative techniques we never imagined. The Korval understand aquatic biology better than anyone. The Thresh have natural antibiotics in their bodies. By combining all this knowledge, we can cure diseases that were impossible to treat before. It is amazing what we can do when we work together, Amy agreed. Captain Nicole Harper became the first human to command a fully integrated alien crew. Her carrier, the Unity, served as a rapid response force throughout Council space. Half her pilots were human, half were aliens from various species. They trained together, flew together, and trusted each other completely. Ship identity does not matter, Nicole told her crew. Species does not matter. What matters is that we have each other's backs when things get dangerous. Do that, and we can handle anything. The Unity responded to crises across multiple sectors, providing military support, disaster relief, and humanitarian aid. They became symbols of the new galaxy, where cooperation replaced isolation. Engineer Brandon Cole was remembered as a hero. His family established a scholarship in his name for young engineers interested in interspecies cooperation. The first recipient was a Velkari student who wanted to build better ships for the Joint Defense Fleet. At the scholarship ceremony, Brandon's mother spoke through tears. My son believed in building bridges between worlds. He died, making sure those bridges would stand. I hope everyone who receives this scholarship remembers that sometimes the most important structures we build are not made of metal, but of friendship and trust. As the war wound down, the Council faced a difficult question about the Krindaks. The swarm was defeated, their territory contained. But millions of individual drones remained. Some Council members wanted complete extermination. Admiral Chen argued against it. We fought to protect life, not destroy it. If we commit genocide now, we become the monsters we defeated. The debate was intense, but eventually, a compromise was reached. The Hive Queens were captured and contained. Without their direction, individual Krindaks drones were studied to see if they could develop independent thought. Dr. Palmer led the research. What he discovered surprised everyone. Freed from hive control, many Krindaks drones showed curiosity, fear, and even gratitude. They could learn and think independently if given the chance. The hive mind evolved as a survival mechanism, Eric explained to the Council. But it is not the only way Krindaks can exist. With help, they can become individuals. The project was controversial and difficult. Some drones could not adapt and had to remain contained. But others integrated into galactic society, becoming productive members of communities throughout Council space. It was proof that even the worst enemies could be redeemed. 5 years after first contact, human and alien societies had merged completely. Earth was a full member of the Galactic Council, with equal voting rights. Humans served throughout Council space as soldiers, scientists, engineers, diplomats, and teachers. Aliens visited Earth as tourists, students, and friends. The Joint Defense Academy's main campus was built in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. Human and alien soldiers trained together in Earth's harsh environment, learning to survive and fight on a real death world. What had once terrified aliens now made them stronger. The Treaty of Terra formalized the alliance between Earth and the Council. President Matthews signed it alongside Ambassador Zekthar, who had become humanity's greatest advocate and friend. "We called out for heroes," Zekthar said at the signing ceremony. And the Deathworlders answered. They brought fury when we needed warriors. But they also brought compassion, innovation, and hope. The galaxy is better because humanity joined us. Admiral Chen, now promoted to Fleet Admiral, commanded all Council military forces. Under her leadership, the Joint Defense Fleet became the most powerful military organization in the galaxy. But it was used primarily for peacekeeping, disaster response, and protecting trade routes. "We built this force to fight a war," Lisa told her senior staff. "But I hope we never need to use it that way again. Our purpose now is to keep the peace we fought so hard to achieve." On Sanctuary Station, a memorial was built for all those lost in the Krindax War. Human and alien names were carved side by side. Thousands of them. People from across the galaxy came to pay their respects and remember the sacrifice that bought their freedom. Lieutenant Jake Harrison stood at the memorial with his old squad, now scattered across different assignments. They had all survived the war, but many of their friends had not. Danny Park's name was there, along with countless others. "We did it," Jake said quietly. "We won the war and built the peace. I hope they would be proud." "They would be," Carla said. "We kept the promise. We protected people who could not protect themselves." General Henderson gave the memorial dedication speech. He was older now, his hair completely gray, but his voice was still strong. "Every name on this wall represents someone who believed in something bigger than themselves. They believed that strength should protect the weak, that courage means standing when others fall, that sacrifice for others is the highest calling. These values transcend species. Human, Velkari, Korval, Thresh, it does not matter. We all share the same capacity for heroism." The ceremony ended with a moment of silence. Thousands stood together, united in grief and gratitude. The stars shone above Sanctuary Station, no longer cold and distant, but filled with friends and allies. Earth's transformation continued. The Defense Academy built a second campus in Africa. Alien technologies helped solve environmental problems that had plagued humanity for decades. Human and alien scientists worked together on projects that pushed the boundaries of knowledge. But Earth remained a death world. Tourists from across the galaxy came to experience it, always with guides and safety equipment. They walked through jungles, climbed mountains, and swam in oceans. They faced Earth's challenges in controlled ways and came away with new respect for humanity. "No wonder you are such good fighters," one Velkari tourist told his human guide after a week in the Amazon rainforest. "Living here is a battle every day." The guide laughed. "You get used to it. This is just home to us." Admiral Chen stood on Sanctuary Station's observation deck, the same place she had stood years ago when arriving for the first time. Ambassador Zekthar joined her, his crystal body shimmering in the light from distant stars. "Do you remember when we first met?" Zekthar asked. "I was so afraid of you. Afraid of what Deathworlders might do to our peaceful civilization." "And now?" Lisa asked. "Now, I know that strength without wisdom is dangerous, but strength with compassion is exactly what the galaxy needed. You brought both. We learned as much from you as you learned from us. You taught us that violence is not always the answer, that mercy matters, that building is harder than destroying but infinitely more important." They watched construction crews working on the new Joint Defense Fleet headquarters. Dozens of species worked side by side, building something that would last generations. Young recruits, human and alien, trained together in the academy. Trade ships moved between worlds, carrying goods and ideas. What do you think the future holds? Zekthar asked. More challenges, certainly. The galaxy is a big place, but I think we can handle whatever comes. We are not alone anymore. We have each other. As the sun set on another day at Sanctuary Station, a new generation of defenders stood ready. They were soldiers and peacekeepers, explorers and scientists, diplomats and teachers. They came from dozens of worlds and hundreds of cultures, but they all shared the same mission: to protect those who could not protect themselves, and to build a better future for everyone. The Deathworlders had delivered on their promise. They had brought fury when it was needed, and compassion when the fighting ended. They had shown the galaxy that strength means nothing without purpose, and that the greatest victories are won not by destroying enemies, but by making them into friends. Humanity had found its place among the stars. No longer isolated on their deadly world, they were part of something larger. They were protectors, partners, and friends to species across the galaxy. The war was over, the peace was built, and the future stretched before them, bright with possibility. On Earth, children looked up at the stars and dreamed of adventures in space. On alien worlds, young beings learned about the Deathworlders who came when called and never wavered. In the academies and fleets and stations throughout the galaxy, humans and aliens worked together as one. The galaxy had needed heroes, and the Deathworlders delivered. But in the end, they proved that anyone can be a hero. All it takes is courage, compassion, and the will to stand up when others need you. The stars shone brightly, no longer cold and empty but warm with the light of friendship and hope. The galaxy was home now, for all of them. And together they would face whatever came next. Together, they were unstoppable. Lisa nodded slowly. I know, but that does not make it easier. It never does. But this is war. We do what we must to protect those who cannot protect themselves. News of the liberation spread across the galaxy within hours. For the first time, someone had taken back a world from the Kryndax. The impossible had become possible. Humanity's fury had been unleashed, and the swarm had learned to fear the Deathworlders. The war was far from over, but the balance had shifted. The Council had heroes now, and the Kryndax had finally found an enemy they could not simply consume. The galaxy would never be the same. But they had won. The line had held. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of her flagship, looking at the casualty reports. So many dead. So many families destroyed. This was the reality of war that the Council had never known. We did well today, General Henderson told her over a private channel. You saved millions of lives. By sacrificing thousands, Lisa said quietly. Sometimes I wonder if the cost is worth it. It is. Every person we save makes it worth it. Never forget that. News of the victory at Nexus spread through Council space. For the first time, civilians believed they might actually survive. The impossible had happened. They had stopped a major Kryndax assault, but everyone knew this was just the beginning. The real war was still coming. You are getting better, Kevin said, blocking one of Kliktor's strikes. I have a good teacher, Kliktor replied. But I have a question. Why do humans fight so well? Is it just because of your death world? Kevin thought about it. Partly. Earth is dangerous. So we had to be dangerous too. But it is more than that. We fight because we have things worth fighting for. People we love, homes we want to protect. That is true for any species. Kreese, an example. Then we are not so different after all. No, we are not. As the weeks passed, the human-alien alliance became something more than just military cooperation. It became a partnership built on trust and mutual respect. The galaxy was changing. And at the center of that change were the Deathworlders who came when called, and the aliens, who were brave enough to learn from them, at the aliens, and assess the situation. She was a Navy officer with years of command experience, known for her quick thinking and tactical mind. With her would go 50 of Earth's best soldiers, scientists, and engineers. As the transport ship launched from Earth, heading toward the coordinates the aliens had provided, Lisa looked back at her home planet. The blue marble hung in space, beautiful and deadly. She wondered what the aliens would think when they met humans face to face. She would soon find out. The Deathworlders were coming to deliver on the promise. The galaxy would never be the same.